Welcome to Revenge Return, where love is never simple, revenge is never accidental, and every story unfolds with secrets, betrayal, and emotional twists you won't see coming. This is where the story begins. I watched the video recording from my phone in Seattle, 2,000 miles away from the Chicago building Colin was attempting to sell. My building. The one Grandpa left solely to me in 2014. The commercial buyers, a development company planning to convert it to luxury condos, nodded along as Colin discussed closing timelines and his plans for the $3.2 million sale proceeds. I discovered the listing purely by accident. A former colleague had sent me a link. "Isn't this your building?" Colin had listed it 3 days ago. Already had buyers. Was planning to close within 2 weeks. I opened my safe and pulled out the original deed. Property conveyed solely to Jade Morrison, granddaughter of Thomas Morrison, free and clear. No joint ownership. No partnership. Just me. I called my real estate attorney immediately. Patricia Young answered on the first ring. "Jade? Everything okay? My brother is trying to sell my Chicago building. He's claiming joint ownership and has buyers ready to close." "That's impossible. We have the certified deed showing sole ownership." "What title company is handling this?" I checked the listing details. Metropolitan Title Services. "Send me everything. The listing, any documentation Colin provided, all communications. I'll contact Metropolitan immediately." "Can he actually sell?" "Not legally. But if the title company accepts fraudulent ownership documents, they might try to proceed. We need to stop this now." Patricia called back within the hour, her voice tight. "Jade, this is worse than we thought. Metropolitan Title received documentation showing supposed joint ownership, dating back to 2014. Your brother provided what appears to be an amended deed, probate court orders, and affidavits claiming shared inheritance. That's all fake. I have the original deed." "I know. I've sent them certified copies proving sole ownership. But here's the problem. When they ran a full title search, they found 10 years of suspicious activity on the property." "What kind of activity?" "Colin has been attempting to refinance, take out loans and establish lines of credit using this property as collateral. Every attempt shows fraudulent ownership documentation. Some were stopped by diligent title companies. Others." She paused. "Jade, did you know there are 3 outstanding loans against the property totaling $340,000? I felt the floor drop. "That's impossible. I've never taken out loans." "You didn't." "Colin did. Using forged documents showing joint ownership. He's been systematically defrauding lenders for a decade." I flew to Chicago that night. Met with Patricia and a fraud investigator from Metropolitan Title the next morning. Ms. Morrison, the investigator Robert Chin, spread documents across the conference table. "We've uncovered a pattern of fraud spanning 10 years. Your brother has attempted to monetize your property at least 14 separate times." He showed me the timeline. 2015. Attempted $50,000 home equity loan. Denied due to title discrepancies. 2016. Attempted refinance for $200,000. Approved by small lender who didn't verify ownership. Still outstanding. 2017. Another loan attempt for $75,000. Denied. 2018. Successful $90,000 loan from private lender. Outstanding. 2019 to 2024. Multiple attempts at loans, refinances and now outright sale. The loans that were approved, how did he do it? Forged deeds, fake probate documents, counterfeit notary stamps. Some lenders have better verification processes than others. The ones who didn't check thoroughly enough got defrauded. So I owe $340,000? No. The loans are fraudulent. You're not liable. But the lenders are victims and your brother has committed multiple felonies." Patricia leaned forward. "Jade, this isn't just property fraud anymore. This is wire fraud, bank fraud, forgery, identity theft. We're talking federal crimes with serious prison time." "What about the current sale?" "Completely blocked. The buyers are furious. They've spent money on inspections and architectural plans. They're threatening to sue Colin for fraud." Colin called me that afternoon, his voice shaking. "Jade, what did you do?" "The sale is cancelled. The buyers are talking about lawsuits. The title company is threatening to report me. What did I do? You tried to sell my building using forged documents. Our building. Grandpa intended for us to share. Grandpa's will explicitly left it to me alone. You know this. You've known this for 10 years. You've never even lived there. You're in Seattle making your tech money while that building sits half empty. I've been managing it, finding tenants, handling maintenance. I pay a property management company $3,000 monthly to do all of that. What exactly have you been managing? Silence. Colin. I've been trying to make something of myself. You got the building, the good job, everything. I got nothing. I was just trying to use an asset that was sitting there. By committing fraud. Multiple times. For 10 years. I needed the money. My business ideas needed capital. You have plenty, you don't need one building. So you forged documents and took out $340,000 in fraudulent loans against my property? How did you? Those loans were supposed to be confidential. The title search found everything, Colin. Every loan, every attempted fraud, every forged document. It's all evidence now. Evidence? Jade, you can't, we're family. Family doesn't commit a decade of fraud against each other. I hung up. The FBI got involved within a week. Agent Michelle Torres called me directly. Ms. Morrison, we're investigating your brother for bank fraud and wire fraud. The lenders he defrauded are filing complaints. We need your cooperation. Of course. I need to be clear. This is a significant case. Multiple counts of fraud across state lines, involving banks and financial institutions. Your brother is facing substantial federal charges. How substantial? Wire fraud alone carries up to 20 years per count. We're documenting at least 6 separate fraudulent transactions. Bank fraud adds additional charges. We're looking at potential decades in prison. My hands shook. He's my brother. He's also a serial fraudster who's been systematically stealing from you and defrauding financial institutions for 10 years. This isn't a one-time mistake. It's a pattern of criminal behavior. My parents called that night, both on speakerphone. Jade, you need to stop this, Mom said immediately. Colin made mistakes, but calling the FBI? That's extreme. I didn't call the FBI. The defrauded lenders did. Colin committed federal crimes. He was trying to build a business. He needed capital. By stealing from me and lying to banks. That's not entrepreneurship, it's fraud. Dad's voice was cold. If you testify against your brother, you're choosing property over family. Is that really who you are? Colin chose fraud over family when he started forging documents 10 years ago. I'm just protecting myself. He could go to prison for decades. Your own brother. He committed crimes for decades. These are his consequences. Mom was crying now. Please, Jade. He's your only sibling. Don't destroy him over a building. He tried to destroy my financial security for 10 years. I'm done protecting him from his choices. I hung up. The federal charges came down in August. Colin Morrison. 6 counts wire fraud, 20 years each maximum. 4 counts bank fraud, 30 years each maximum. 8 counts forgery, 10 years each maximum. 3 counts identity theft, 15 years each maximum. Total potential sentence, 215 years. His attorney immediately began negotiating a plea deal. The evidence was overwhelming. Forged deeds with my signature. Fake probate documents. Counterfeit notary seals. Email trails showing Colin knew the documents were fraudulent. One email to a co-conspirator from 2019. My sister will never check title records. She's in Seattle and barely pays attention to the Chicago property. We can keep doing this for years. He'd planned systematic long-term fraud. Colin's plea deal came through in October. Guilty plea to 4 counts wire fraud, 2 counts bank fraud. 12 years in federal prison. $340,000 restitution to defrauded lenders. $150,000 fine. Permanent prohibition from real estate transactions. Lifetime ban from holding any financial power of attorney. The judge was harsh during sentencing. Mr. Morrison, you didn't make a mistake. You executed a decade-long criminal enterprise targeting your own sister and multiple financial institutions. You forged documents, lied to banks, and exploited family trust. 12 years is lenient considering the scope of your crimes. Colin looked at me once as they led him away. His expression was pure hatred. I sold the Chicago building 6 months later for $3.4 million. Used part of the proceeds to pay off the fraudulent loans Colin had taken out, even though I wasn't legally required to. The lenders were victims too. The rest went into investments and a down payment on a larger place in Seattle. My parents stopped speaking to me entirely. Extended family chose sides. Most sided with Colin, the poor son destroyed by his cold sister who chose money over family. They ignored the 10 years of fraud, the forged documents, the systematic theft. None of it mattered because I was supposed to forgive him. Because family. Colin wrote from prison 8 months into his sentence. I read the letter once. Jade, prison gives you a lot of time to think. My therapist here says I need to take accountability. Here it is. I spent 10 years trying to steal from you because I was jealous. You succeeded at everything. Good job, property ownership, financial stability. I failed at everything and blamed you for making me look bad. When I realized I could forge documents and access your property value, I didn't see it as fraud. I saw it as taking what I deserved. I was wrong. You earned everything you have. I earned nothing but prison. I don't expect forgiveness. I just want you to know I finally understand what I did. Colin. I filed it away. It wasn't enough to rebuild anything. But it was acknowledgement. 2 years later, I'm still in Seattle. The tech company went public. My equity is worth $8 million now. I bought a second property in Portland as an investment. This time I had Patricia structure it with enhanced fraud protection, biometric verification requirements, and multiple layers of title security. I'm done being vulnerable to family theft. Colin has 10 years left on his sentence. My parents occasionally send emails asking me to forgive and move on. I delete them. The extended family has mostly given up trying to guilt me into reconciliation. I learned something important. Protecting yourself isn't cruelty, even when family demands you absorb their crimes. Colin spent 10 years defrauding me and multiple financial institutions. He forged my signature, created fake legal documents, and systematically tried to steal from me because he thought I wouldn't notice. He was almost right. If he hadn't gotten greedy and tried to sell the entire building, I might never have discovered the decade of fraud. But I did discover it, and I stopped him. My family calls me heartless for not dropping charges, for testifying, for sending my own brother to prison. But Colin sent himself to prison by committing federal crimes for 10 years. I just refuse to be his victim anymore. The building is sold. The fraud is stopped. The lenders are being repaid. And I'm free from a family that valued Colin's criminal ambitions over my right to own property without being systematically robbed. That freedom is worth more than any building.